It's hard to hear the truth with so many people talking. Join your host as he engages in unfettered conversations with folks from around the world, sharing their perspective on how business, technology, political policies, and world events affect our spiritual, mental, and physical well being. If you want to turn your thoughts into actions, then listen to the Brother of Light, dropping wisdom in your left ear and knowledge in your right.
So, Lauren, we're going to get right into it. Thank you, folks, for joining us on this episode of Folks Unfettered. I am really excited. I always say I'm excited about each episode, but it really is fun when you have a chance to catch up with a former colleague, someone that you respect, and you have shared experiences. And I am actually thrilled today to have as my guest on the episode a former Merrill Lynch colleague and friend, Lauren Billings. And Lauren, I wanted to just say thank you for being on the episode today. I know we had a really interesting conversation yesterday. And I hope to capture that magic that you and I've had. We've known each other now since what, 2007, 2008, right?
Yeah, 7.
Right. And I know that based on our conversation that we had yesterday, you were just about as nervous as I was because we are in this capacity. But folks, I just want to share with you that Lauren is a person who I have come to respect. And hopefully you'll come to respect her and her wisdom that she has to impart on us today. And I just want to give you a little bit about her, information about her, how you can contact with her, and all the things that she's accomplished. Lauren is the owner and CFO of Legacy Moving Services. She is a former captain in the United States Air Force. Fly, fight. What is that? What's our motto? Fly, fight. What is that? I messed that completely
Fly,
up.
fight, win. Yeah.
Fly, fight, win. That's why she's a captain. That's why she was a captain. She also served in the Air National Guard as a KC-135 Navigator, and she's a Desert Storm veteran. She's a former admissions liaison officer for the Air Force Academy. She is a business owner, entrepreneur, real estate owner, and landlord. She's a creative investor. A native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And she earned a master's degree in accounting and taxation from FGCU. Lauren and I crossed paths. She was a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. She's was a chartered retirement planning counselor and a licensed life insurance for licensed life insurance solutions. She is held to Series 7, 66, just a super, super awesome person with accolades that will just continue to go on and on. Lauren, like myself, is a disabled veteran. She was diagnosed with MS, although you'll never know it. She runs a MS support group through the Paralyzed Veterans of America since 2011 or so. She is also an author, as if to add more to her bio. She's participated in a book entitled The Wisdom Before Me. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Lauren's wisdom that she has to impart on all of us, that whether you're male or female, you can learn something from Lauren's journey. So, Lauren, we are happy to have you on the program today. I think that fates are aligned for us to have this conversation. So, thank you and welcome to Folks Unfettered.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled that we've reconnected. I mean, we remained connected on LinkedIn, but we hadn't talked in a couple of years, maybe even.
Yeah.
And we've both been so busy. You've been busy. Oh my goodness. It's great what you've been doing. I love it. I love
awesome.
it. So exciting.
Thank you. So we were in Dallas. You're in Florida right now.
Yeah.
So walk me through that process on how you and your husband, you guys made the decision to move from Dallas to Florida, and tell us about your journey there, because I think one of the things we didn't talk about yesterday is um, how difficult it becomes to move when you get older. And I know that with our shared experiences as Air Force, we kind of got used to that, right? Every 4 or 5 years you would move. And I know I recently did a move as well to the East Coast, and I find it to be a little more challenging than I thought it was going to be. But and you moved an entire family. So walk us through that journey and experience and how you guys came up with that decision, and how's the move been? So
Well, after moving down to Florida from Wisconsin back in the 90s, I lived in Naples for 6 or 7 years, and that's where I met Doug, my husband. And after being there for a couple years together and having the boys, they were both born in Naples. We moved up to Orlando, and then he had asked me if I would ever consider moving to Texas, and I always said no. I'm happy in Florida. I mean, I came here from Wisconsin for a reason, so why would I want to move to Texas?
right.
But he had lived there before, and he always liked it, and so I think it was the third time he asked me. I finally said yes. So we, back in 2005, we picked up and we moved. The boys were 2 and 4 years old at the time. And we moved out to Dallas, Frisco specifically. And we didn't even really know anybody out there. He did have a friend in the Dallas area that he had, just hadn't been in touch with lately, but they go back 40 years now. So that was about it for knowing people. But we settled in there and we landed in a wonderful place. I couldn't have asked for more. Frisco is up and coming. It was sort of the new Plano,
Mhm.
and just incredible for schools, and everything was new and lots of restaurants and just a great community. So growing, it's they consider themselves the sports capital of the country. They have the Cowboys there now. The
Right.
headquarters are there. They have FC Dallas, professional soccer.
That's
So
right.
it's a great place for kids. It's a fantastic place for kids to grow up. And in
Absolutely.
fact, their teachers say, you live in a bubble. You live in the Frisco bubble. And yeah, so then over the years, we realized how much we miss Florida. We love Texas. Don't get me wrong, love Texas so much. But we just missed the palm trees and the green grass year round, because in Dallas they
It's,
have we're in Texas,
yeah, it's
the
brown.
grass. Yeah,
It's
and
brown.
it's so depressing. Oh,
I know. It
I
really is. Yeah.
I
It's,
couldn't.
it's brown.
So I miss that
Mhm.
life, and it's a little more temperate too. It's not as cold in the winter, and it's not as hot in the summer. It's not a huge difference, but it is nice.
Yeah, it's
So
very, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
so I'd say the boys were just coming up on senior year and sophomore year in high school, and Doug said, well, let's go back to Florida now. And I said, oh, no, 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 no. This is not a good time for the kids. And we have our own business, so it's a choice. We can go when we want,
That's
and
right.
or if we want. So I said, no, we're coming up on senior year for Dalton, and I'm not going to do that. So he graduated, and Doug said, okay, let's go now. and, and Landon was halfway through, and I said, well, we need to ask Landon how he feels about that.
Mhm.
And he said no, he wanted to stay. We went ahead and we thought we'd follow his lead, whatever he felt comfortable with. And he'd known his friends since kindergarten, and so he decided to stay. And that was a good move, because that for him, because he ended up meeting a girl, at
wonderful.
Sky Ranch out there, which is a Christian camp.
It's
And they're such a cute couple. They've been together. They knew each other for a year, and then they started dating. So known each other for 3.5 years now, and dating for 2.5. And they're so sweet.
wow.
They're really
So
nice.
awesome.
And
You know,
she came with us.
wow.
She moved with us.
What a story. Because I know that when you and I were talking, you were saying how everyone moved back to Florida with you guys. So
Yeah.
you have a house full.
We do now. Yeah. Now, Dalton, the 21-year-old, he couldn't come with us at first because
Okay.
he was in a relationship and his job at K Jewelers was going so phenomenally.
Mhm.
His district manager nicknamed him Big Money.
Oh, wow.
That's how good he was doing. So proud of him. So he finally joined us this summer in July. And
That's awesome.
so we have them all here, and
Yeah,
it's really great. It's
that's
great.
awesome. You know, one of the things that struck, there's so much to unpack with you. And, you know, it's interesting because whenever I think about Florida, I always think about sunshine and light and it's sort of airy feeling. And I remember when I met you at Merrill about 2007, that is one of the things that stuck out to me about you. And then when I met your husband, Doug, I'm like, oh, yeah, you guys really have, you specifically have, you're so humble about your experiences. I mean, and listen, I didn't say this yesterday, but I'm saying it because I got to reflect on our conversation yesterday, and I was excited about our conversation, and I thought, Lauren's one of the most humble people that I know after all the things you've accomplished. Um, and you carried that with you from the moment I met you. And I mean, the time that we were at Merrill, even the times that we've even connected socially, I don't think you I can't recall a time when you have not had a positive response to something that been taken as negative. Um, there's so much to remember. I know when you guys were starting the moving company and your attitude there and some employee decisions that you were making. Um, I'm just gonna where's that attitude come from? I try to be light when I can, but boy, when I get behind closed doors, I'm like, I start go a little cuckoo. But I want to let's go back to your because I don't want to brush this over, but because you and I had this conversation because I was an Air Force recruiter, and then we talked about your experience as a captain in the United States Air Force as a navigator, which during our time, I would say I'm a little bit older than you. I like to say that.
Months, only months.
I know it's months. I know it's months, but also being there wasn't a lot of female navigators back then. Was there not? Share that experiences and the challenges that came with that. Because by looking at you and talking to you, you know, I don't get the sense that you have a lot of that animosity. You're always just so, everything's just going to kind of be okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't think people realize the rigorous training that goes into accomplishing what you did and what would be considered a male dominated specialty in the military. Walk us through your thought process. You graduate out of college, you decide you want to join the Air Force, and I want to, fly airplanes. It's like, right. So how did that come out? I never asked you that question in all these years. I kind of, not only do I want the audience to know, but now I want to know.
Okay. Actually, I joined when I was halfway through. Well, I was a sophomore in college because I joined the Air National Guard actually, and so I just at first before I found out about the Air National Guard, I was approached by my roommate's friend and said, you should join the Army Reserve and be a medic because I was pre-med at the time. And I thought, oh, that'd be great. So I took the ASVAB and getting ready to take the physical. And my dad said, I don't think you're going to like the Army. I don't know if you want to do that. I don't know if you're going to like that. And I said, I listened to my dad. I have the wisdom to no to listen to my dad. And I'm glad I did. But then very soon after I decided not to go Army, still can't believe it's a weird thought, Army. I met somebody who had just gotten off of active duty
Mhm.
and gone, I guess, Palace Chase was the program that where you could go
Oh,
into the Air National Guard.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and he loved it. He just
Mm.
loved it. And I met him through the university choir that I was in that
Oh, wow.
year.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, we got to be friends, and I heard about this. So a few months later, I was raising my right hand and getting in the Air Force. And my dad surprisingly didn't say, I don't think you should do that. He didn't say a word. I guess
Right.
he supportive. And so I enlisted, and I already had a couple stripes because I had, a couple years of college or
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know
two,
that.
I don't know. So that
Okay.
was kind of cool. And went through basic training, in San Antonio and everything. And
Mhm.
then it just, okay, I got to be honest, which I always am. But when I first joined the military, it wasn't for a noble reason. Like,
Mhm.
so many people join and say, God, after 9/11, for
Right.
instance.
Right.
But for me, I was so focused on school. I just wanted a job that wouldn't interfere with my schooling.
I get it.
And, so
Right.
so I figure, 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer,
Mhm.
it's not gonna interfere with my studies.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it became so much more to me,
Mhm.
which is really cool because it's really instilled in me. But I, at first, I can't take credit for like, oh yeah, good friend. So so I did 3 years in
Mhm.
a mobile radar unit. I was the aerospace control and warning systems operator. And really, I only chose that. I told the recruiter, so I was between my sophomore and junior year of college.
Right.
And
Right.
I said, so I don't want to miss I don't want to miss any school at all. I don't want it to mess up anything. So find me a tech school that's short enough that I can just go right back to my junior year.
Mhm.
So found a 3-week tech school, and that's what it was. And so I just went right back to school, never missed a beat. And so like I said, I was in basic training in the summer. It was
Right.
really, really hot, a lot of red flag days,
Right.
and did
Right.
my tech school, and found myself in a mobile radar unit.
Mm.
And it was there's where my first real challenges came up. Um, there was kind of a political environment there.
Oh, yeah. 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 We talked
Yeah.
about this recently. I'll if you don't mind, I'll interject. I was that kid that joined
Oh,
um, because I wanted to make a difference, right? I mean, I think my father was an exchange student. A lot of people don't really know that about me. I was born in a little island back then. It wasn't very popular there, but everybody loves to run through for vacation now. My mother was a Texan. Um, and mine was a mix of, after my parents divorced, I kind of wanted to, you know, uh, be there for my siblings and my mom in a way. And so that solved a lot of problems for me. I could advance, and I committed myself to go to college in that way. So there was that thing for me. But I think, like you and I talked about yesterday,